had like this little situation where my cousin that wasn't even involved in basketball, his best friend coached in Germany. And he was like, look, just come over, you can work some camps, just kind of work out with the team. I can get you a deal like that. And I'm like, all right, fuck it. So I went over there. I was over there for like 3 months. Did some stuff over there. Then I came back and then I was supposed to go to Australia the next year. So I'm like, all right, so I'm gearing up for that shit. You know how the overseas shit is. Like, they like, yo, we gonna sign you in August. It was like the end of September. I'm like, bruh, I'm talking to my agent, like, I'm talking to him. I'm like, I don't, back then it's just like, you don't know, honestly, bro, like, you just kind of Google shit, or like, it was no like, let me go to this team Instagram page.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta wait.
Yeah.
So I was waiting, and while I'm waiting, my man B Hub got the job at Beth Filler, the Jewish school up in Owens Mills.
Okay, gotcha.
So he was coaching there, the JV, and he was like, yo, just come up here and work out while you figure out what you're doing and coach with me. And I'm like, all right, fuck it. So I go up there coaching with him, and I start subbing up there. It's crazy, but it was cool, bro, because the kids just listened to everything we told them to do, because they just was like, you play well, you used to play guys, you play. So was up there with him, and then I just really had to like make a decision. I'm like, bro, like, and then at the time, to be honest with you, my older cousin who was helping me out a lot, when I was trying to navigate that whole space, you don't have no money because you ain't working. Right. You just playing ball. He was kind of like helping me out. He got locked up. So again, I'm like, I gotta figure something out, bro. I need some money. Yeah. I'm not gonna go into that shit. So I started subbing, and then I hit my coach up, Daryl Brooks, the one that recruited me from Loyola. Yes. At that time, he was coaching at GW. And I'm like, yo, I want to coach. You know anybody that got some jobs and shit? And he's like, yeah, let me call my brother-in-law. So I was like, all right, cool. So I'm waiting, still waiting. I'm like, if something come up, then I'll just go with that basketball shit. So I moved to like kind of the DC area with this girl I was dating. And Daryl Brooks called me back, was like, yo, my brother, he got a position over at Montrose Christian, coaching girls. You should go over there and meet with him. And I'm like, all right, fuck, whatever. I'm down this way, I need to do something. I need to get into this school, maybe get a job, whatever. So I go over there. Raymond Burke is the guy. He's a girls coach. We meet, we click right away. He like, bro, you don't need to coach my girls, you need to coach the boys. So I'm like, all right. And he's like, I'm gonna get you a meeting with Stu Vetter. So I'm like, all right. I kind of know Stu Vetter from Prospect Hall. I'm like, all right. And he's like, yo, they got a good team. And I was like, all right, whatever. So I called Stu Vetter. Stu Vetter called me back. He's like, I want you to meet with David Atkins. You can't, like, I'm busy. So David Atkins was like the guy that was right under him. Mm-hmm. So I go back up to school, meet with David Atkins. He's like, yo, we chop it up. He one of them white dudes that's like solid. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking to him. He's like, no, we need somebody like you on this motherfucking staff. So there's all white guys on the staff. Yeah. So he like, we need somebody young, we need somebody black, we need somebody that can fuck with these kids. He's like, you coming from out of college, you got new drills. I'm like, all right. So he's like, I'm gonna set you up and meet with Vetter now. So I meet with Vetter, I go in the Vetter office, bro. His office got all Jordan, like, it's just like all these players, like, on the wall and shit. Him and Michael Jordan and shit, like, him at all these camps and shit. I'm like, so this motherfucker, first thing Stu Vetter says, yeah, man, I hear good things about you. I can't pay you, though. It's like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm be doing. Told me straight up, I can't pay you. And I'm like, all right. So he started bringing down, like, yo, like, we good. We could probably be #1 in the country. High school basketball, we got a player on our team that's probably the #1, #2 player in the country. And I'm like, all right. He's like, named Kevin Durant. I'm like, all right. He's like, but we got other players too. I'm like, all right. So they start naming off these dudes I never heard of them. I'm in Baltimore. I'm trying to play. So we go up into the gym. He's like, I'm gonna introduce you to some of them. We go up into the gym. And Montrose is different, man. It's like a private school, Jordan brand school. Basketball was the school. So they had different fundraisers throughout the year. So I walk into the gym and they all shooting free throws. It's a fundraiser going on. And I swear to God, bro, I'm watching this dude shoot free throws. I walk in and I'm like, this is the biggest shit. And these motherfuckers just shoot them off the backboard. Pop, pop on that. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Who's that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's KD. That's Kevin. I'm like, oh, all right. See other dudes, like that's Gravis Vasquez, that's Tashi Ito, he's from Japan. So I'm like, and he's like, that's Isaiah Armwood, that's Terrell Vincent, they from Baltimore, they gonna be your guys. I'm like, oh, all right. So I just was like, so I went back and I went home, my chick at the time, I'm like, yo, I'm taking this shit. They told me they can't pay me, I don't give a fuck, like, I gotta take this job. Boom, so I walked into a job, basically a coaching job. My first year, I'm coaching all these dudes, bro. And they looking at me and I'm like, young, I'm still hooping, shoot around, check up.
Get with them.
But then I got some drills, I can show them shit. So they gain respect for me. So after, you know, like the way I kind of got into the whole training thing is that before practice, my job was to work with the guards. At the practice, they like, yo, I want to work. I'm like, all right, I want to work. Can you stay? I'm like, yeah. So I'm just doing that shit. And then one of the Dave Atkins like, yo, you should do that shit for some money. I'm like, all right. So that's kind of like, it gave me the confidence to be like, all right, well, how much to charge? He's like, don't worry about that right now. Just start getting some sessions. So he would give me some of his kids and I would work them out with some of our players. So you got these kids working out with Gravis Vasquez, Tashi Ito. So while they working out with these kids, and I'm sitting there like just learning shit too. And that's kind of what gave me the confidence to be like, oh, I can train anybody. I train pros to start. High level Division I guys. So I'm like, it's like a whirlwind, bro. I'm telling you, I'm meeting things. I'm like Roy Williams in the gym. Like that's when coaches would just come sit. Mike Krzyzewski. Like I'm putting numbers in my phone. Like everybody that's a coach right now, probably they was assistants back then. Most of them, I knew all of them. So I'm like, I gotta get his. He might give me a job one day. I had a thing where I'm like, I want to get his number. So doing that, meeting all these coaches, I had Isaiah and Terrell. They was the top freshmen in the country. So then I'm traveling to these schools, taking them to every school.
That's so crazy. I didn't even know they was there together.
Yeah, they was there together. So, I'm coming back to Baltimore because they stayed down there.
Yeah.
We had a house. So every time on Friday, I'm coming back and bringing them back with me. We in the car talking. That's how we bond.
Right.
We lock in. They my guys to the day. Like me and Zeke like this.
Right.
It's like my little brother. Right. But we built that bond. I'm driving them to Villanova. I'm driving them to this school. I'm taking them summer. We going to this camp. And I'm meeting the Louisville staff. Everybody. So that shit was crazy. And then it was like, that just kind of took off. And then the next year I got positioned at the school. And then I was there for 8-9 years. And so that first year kind of just took off. Then every year and we had pros.
You had Lennox Kleiser there as well, didn't you?
I missed Lennox. So I missed Lennox Kleiser. So the year I came after him.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think he was gone for 2 years before I got there. But he was like kind of the first, him and I think his name was Echefu.
I know.
Them two was the big time guys, Lennox Kleiser and him. They were like Al Jordan guys.
Right.
So you was there, Terrence Ross went there?
Coach
Terrence Ross?
Yeah.
Coach Terrence Ross, Justin Anderson.
He was so crazy.
The craziest part is the very first time we met Kevin Durant was that year you started coaching him.
Yeah.
We met Kevin Durant. We used to go to the run and shoot all the time out there. So he was out there working out. I think this was after season because he had already committed to Texas. But we met him out running and shoot. We was out there playing ball. And one of our boys played at AAU with one of his friends. So he was actually over there working out with him. So we actually got to go.
Oh yeah, he'll work out. That nigga work out 3 times a day.
Bro.
Here, there.
The man had on some Jordan 3s, bro. Them joints was on the fifth line, bro. The joints just looked like they kept on.
I could tell you so many Nike stories. Nike, man, they followed us. They would be at our gym because they was trying to sign him. Bro, we went to the Springfield Hall of Fame Classic. We played, I forget who we played up there. Nike was up there. They brought this nigga like boxes of shit, bro. So at the, we done. We go back to the hotel, get our shit. We live out to leave. They like, yo, do room check. We go back, room check. I go in his room. This nigga got 3 boxes, Air Force Ones lined up. Right? Open them up. They full. I'm like, bro, like, what the fuck I take them downstairs in the lobby. Like, yo, what? Why you leave these in the room? They like different Air Force Ones too, like patent leather, multicolors. I'm like, what the fuck? I couldn't fit them in my bag. They gonna tell one of us to put on bag.
All these bags.
But again, like nobody wore size.
Right.
True.
So he couldn't even really give them to his teammates. If I knew now, they got them bitches to sign these.
Yeah,
sign them.
please.
But yeah, I mean that's how much shit it was. Like Nike was, they was on them.
I mean, from what you seen, like, was it immediate? Like, from what you saw, like, from.
But I knew he was special. I mean, again, like people like you coached him, I coached him. I ain't develop. I mean, I put him through drills. I talked to him. I wasn't the one that developed that kid. He honestly, and I don't know. I'm pretty sure he got coaches that instilled in him all that stuff. But he just was a worker, bro. He would work with anybody. He would work anytime. So it's like, let's get some shots. All right, he working, and you see it. It's crazy because he still worked the same way now, bro. It's you watch kids, and you're like, that motherfucker never got tired, bro. Like, why you tired? Like, so it's rare when you see people like that, bro. So to be able to say I was able to coach somebody like that, yeah, I can brag about that because he's a GOAT.
Yeah.
He's a GOAT. But again, like I coached so many other players that that are good players that had great careers, that are great men, that had positions in the front offices too.
Yeah.
I got a great relationship with dudes that I coach that coach now, train. All that shit, and again, if you think about it too, like that's just one part of it. I've been at Mount St. Joe for 13 years.
Right.
So,
Right.
12 years. So that's a whole nother array of talent, young men, pros, Division I, Division II, Division III, you know what I'm saying? So, I've been coaching almost 20 plus years now, bro.
Yep.
So man, it's a part of my life.
What was your favorite team when you was at Montrose before we get to Mount St. Joe?
My favorite team, we won the national championship in 2011. That was probably my favorite team.
Who was on that team?
Man, we had our point guard was Tyrone Johnson. He went to Villanova. Our shooting guard was Justin Anderson. Our three-man was, I want to say, if it wasn't Ishmael Wainwright, who was it? Michael Carrera. He's a pro in Venezuela. He's from Venezuela. We had so many players. I don't know if the dude Kevin Larson started. Tyler Hubbard.
Oh my Lord. Can't forget
Tyler Hubbard was our shoot. I mean, he was our basically. So it was Tyrone at the point, Tyler at the 2, Justin at the 3, Michael Carrera at the 4, and Kevin Larson at the 5. We had a bunch of dudes coming off the bench that was really good, but it was a really good team.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what you think set that team apart?
Really good team, and we beat some really good teams, and we beat Oak Hill twice that year.
That's around the time they had
Quinn Cook. We beat Finley Prep, who was ranked number 1 in the country at the time. So we beat some really good teams. We lost like one game that year, but after we lost that game, we just it made everybody tight. And then we had to play in that ESPN joint, and we ran through that joint. Not ran through it, but we won it.
So it's so crazy because it's like you grow up in Baltimore and you go from not traveling at all.
Been traveling
to
a basketball to
not being able to. How often did you guys play home?
At Montrose?
Yeah.
Not often. We would play smaller schools at home, but we traveled a lot to different. We went to Hawaii. I was there for 8 years. We went 4 times.
To Hawaii?
Yeah.
How are you digesting? Like, how is this?
We went to Japan. So I went to Japan my first year there. We went to Japan because of KD.
Yeah.
But we had a point guard on our team named Tashi Ito. He was big in Japan.
Okay.
So he came over. So it was kind of like we went over there, kind of toured
cool.
everything where he grew up at. Played. KD didn't go, but we went over there and won the tournament. But again, like going to Japan, bro, that shit was amazing. It was eye opening. It was like one of them things where when I went over there, I came back home. It was like, yeah, we kind of messed up over here.
Yeah, different.
It was totally different over there. Just the kids, the respect, how clean it was, how they took care of everything, the food. I was like, oh yeah, America, we got some work we gotta do, bro. But yeah, like just coaching, playing basketball, just I mean, it has gave me the ability to travel all across the world. I mean, as far as coaching, I've been kind of everywhere as far as high school tournaments. So, yeah. And every time, most time you travel, it's free.
Yeah, most of the time. Yeah.
So, but I never really got into the AAU thing. It's just not my cup of tea.
Why's that?
Even when I got to Mount St. Joe, you know, one of the reasons why I took it because it was a good program. And, you know, Clatchy kind of had like a bubble around the program where it was just like we was able to coach. Parents didn't really have a huge influence in what we did. And I feel like AAU basketball is really heavily parent influenced. And I'm just, I know my lane. I know what I would, you know, love doing. And it's not talking to parents every day and you know, parents trying to, you know, there's no loyalty with it. I think you play too many games. I mean, I could go into a rabbit hole with this AAU thing, but I'm not gonna do that. But I just don't think it's been beneficial for the game of basketball overall.
Okay.
You've been blessed to coach alongside of some great head coaches.
Absolutely.
Clatchy alone, man, that guy right there is one of my favorite coaches I've seen. Like,
and both of them, the two coaches I coached under really was totally different. Totally different. Stu Vetter was more like stringent, you know, methodical with everything that we did. Everything was timed. Practices was structured. Everybody knew what the practice was. Everybody had a practice plan. The players knew. They would read the practice. They knew what color they wore, what team they was on, if they was the captain of a drill. Everything was on the clock. If you ain't know, you can go to the score table and check what was next. So it was like that. And then when I got to Mount St. Joe, it was totally different. It was a little bit more chill, a little bit more laid back. But you can't be like, why you don't do it like that when you still win?
yeah.
So it was just two different things. And I learned from, you know, still learning from Clatchy, but I took a lot from that. And then kind of like tried to bring a little bit of it to Mount St. Joe. But it's totally two different programs. You know, we don't recruit kids from out of the country at Mount St. Joe. We don't have a house. You know, most of our talent is from here, and we have to develop it. So it's totally different. So the stuff that I learned at Montrose, you know, coming into the situation at Mount St. Joe, I had to we have to heavily develop kids. I took a lot of that stuff and used it at Mount St. Joe.
Right. What ultimately made you choose Mount St. Joe? Was there other schools?
There was other schools that I talked to that wanted me to come on their staff when I got back to Baltimore. But again, I felt like that was the closest thing. One, I felt like I could still learn from him.
Right.
And two, I felt like it was the most stable program at the time. You know, I talked to my cousin Howard. That's Justin, Jenifer. That's Justin's father. Clatchy recruited Justin, so they had a good relationship. He didn't get Justin, but he still stayed in contact with Howard. He knew I was coming back. He reached out to Howard like, yo, your cousin, what are you gonna do next year? Is he gonna coach? You think he would wanna, like, you know, sit down and talk? So Howard called me and was like, yo, Clatchy wanna rap to you about maybe getting on staff. And I was like, all right. I mean, that's a pretty good program. So I started asking around a little bit, met up with Clatchy, and was like, it's not too far from where I live at. You know, I can still kind of, you know, it can still be beneficial to my business by me coaching here. So it was kind of, and they was winning, and they had some good talent. That's when I came my first year. They had Phil Booth, Jalen Adams.
Oh, so you came at a really good time.
Bro, I'll tell you, I've been blessed, bro. I come into programs at the right time. I was God, bro. I'm telling you, like, my first year is like we had 3 really, really good guards, but we had a good team and we won everything. So I'm sitting there like, oh, this is crazy. I never did I think this is me, because before I got to Montrose, they was winning. Before I got to St. Joe, they was winning. So it was just like, I'm like, I can just bring a valuable piece to whatever they doing, and hopefully I can take it to a whole nother level. You know, at Montrose, it was more so I'm just trying to fit in.
Yeah.
And then as I, you know, went along, my voice, you know, it meant more. But as soon as I got to Mount St. Joe, I was like, nah, yeah, you gonna respect me.
Yeah. I mean,
when I tell you, you're gonna listen.
You had been around the ball, and at that point, you had seen the apex of what it could be as a player. So,
and a lot of those kids at Mount St. Joe, not saying that they but they, you know, them programs like Montrose, like they look at those programs. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I was there for 9, 8 years, bro.
Yeah.
I know what it take.
I know what it take. I know what it take to beat those type of teams. I know what it takes. So, you know, been with Clashy for 12 years now. You know, we beat some great teams. We Malvern Academy.
Yes.
#1 team in the country. Cooper Flag, all those guys. We beat them. You know, we've maybe win a lot of championships, man. A lot of championships. Win a lot of games. I know in the years I've been there, I won't say in the last, I'll just say not including this past year, the last 3 years, we averaged like 36 wins a year.
Yeah, it's tough.
You know, won like 6 championships. So, I mean,
man, you know, you see me I be at a lot of them games.
Yeah, you do, for
I
sure.
be at a lot of the high school games. And one of the reasons why Clatchy is one of my favorite coaches, you could kind of see the passion that he has for the game on the sideline. Like, he be in. I love coaches like that.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I love to see the fire, like Coach fired up about, I could play for somebody like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, not even all the extras. Not even all. We ain't even gonna get into all the extras.
Cried about
Now,
that.
that is, you know
I
what
cried
I'm
about that, but
Yes.
because I ain't even see it. I just had people say stuff to me like, yo, what's up with him, bro? Like, what you talking about? And I saw it, I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
He was charged up that
It's so funny, man. Like, I don't even know, but I had a conversation with Nick Miles right after that game about that, man. He's like, yo, what's up, bro? And like, me and Nick cool, man. Like, he came up in the Oliver program, so we've always had a great relationship, man. Like, outside of the rivalry,
St. Francis.
you know, I have a lot of respect for him, so he pulled me up as a man, like, come on, yo.
Yeah, what is going on
I
here?
said, you know what? You're right.
Yeah, that went a little too far.
It's not a good look. I said, but yo, like we had a tough year last year, so I'm like, bro, we was just so happy to win that game, bro. Like, it meant something to us. So he's like, I get that, but it's just not. I said, yo, it is. So I said, what I'll do is I'll holler at Clatchy. So I hollered at Clatchy. Yo, I think you might want to holler at Nick. Holler at Nick. They kind of, you know, so we all good. We all good at that point. But yeah, man, it's like, I'm like, I saw it, I was like, bruh. Twice though? I'm like, you know, one time, like, he's done it before, bro. But he do it like at the stands, like this is like a good shot. Wow.
Yeah.
But he like, I saw the video, he's like facing that team. I'm like, ooh. And twice. Nick like, nah, we ain't, come on, let's go. We out. I'm like, bruh. I don't blame you.
Motion running high, you know what I'm saying? Hey.
But like, you know,
rivalry.
I think it's, I mean, we have a ton of respect for what they do, bro. Like their program, and you know, we know every time we play them, it's gonna be a tough game. Every time we coach against Nick, it's gonna be one of them battles. So it's nothing but respect, and that's probably why because we used to winning.
Yeah.
But you know, obviously to beat them in that capacity, in that moment, and how it happened, I think we all got caught up in the moment.
Yeah,
So, I mean, it's a part of it. It's a part. It was never just nothing disrespectful to them. Got a lot of respect for them.
Definitely, man. It's like, again, emotions run high, make you black
It's
out.
a part of it, man.
That's
You
a part.
put a lot into it, man. Every day, them practices, man. Like,
Oh man, yeah.
you put a lot into it. So you know, when you, especially when you don't have a lot go well for you, and you used to it.
Yeah.
When they finally do that in that year,
No, I totally got that when you said it.
Like, so it's like, and like BJ said in one of the interviews, he missed a couple game winning shots throughout the year. So he finally hit one. So it's like,
That was a cold one.
yeah, it was tough.
Man. Oh,
It was one of the toughest shots. I've seen some shots. I've seen the best shot buzzer beater was probably Adrian Bowie when we played Oak Hill.
Oh, I forgot he was there too.
That was, they called that game the Pro Show.
Yeah.
They had Nolan.
Oh yeah.
They had Mike
BJ.
Beasley.
Oh, did BJ was there?
No,
too?
they had Mike Beasley. They had Todd Lawson.
Oh, my
They
Lord.
had Jeff. Is his name not Jeff Allen? Bro, they was stacked. But we had KD. We were stacked too.
They came on YouTube, I think.
Yeah, it went down to the buzzer, and KD took a shot, and Adrian rebounded and put it back.
Yeah.
That was like what the fuck?
That was standing room only wall to wall.
That was the first game. Honestly, I think that was one of the first high school games streamed.
Yeah, I was ready to say,
Yeah,
because
it's on YouTube. Yeah, for sure, man.
First one, I remember the dude coming through, like talking about money and all that shit. Like, it was the first game that was really like high school game that was streamed.
Man, so I got a question for you, right? I know you coach Kevin Durant. You just named another phenom on the other side. Who do you think was better? at the time between him and Michael Beasley at that time?
KD.
KD?
Because I mean, with Mike, he wasn't a guard. Like, KD could post you up, bring the ball down. He would just, man, I saw this motherfucker throw the ball backboard to himself, dunk that shit in the game. I was like, what the fuck?
Man.
But Mike Beasley was,
Listen.
if he touched the ball, it was probably going in. Like, he had his touch around the basket.
It was crazy.
Lefty, made it look so easy.
The first time I seen Michael Beasley, I was at a basketball tournament he was playing in, and we was at Oxford Hill, I think.
Yep.
And they was playing the game before y'all game or on the other side of the court, right?
Mm-hmm.
All I know is I see a dude come up, throw this joint up, put his hand on the side of the backboard, dunk this joint. I'm like, yo, who is that?
Still in high school.
Man said, yo, that's Michael Beasley. He a senior this year. I said, what?
Bro, he was different, bro. He was,
Grown man.
so that year, he was younger than them.
Yeah.
So he was only a junior.
Mm-hmm.
But he was so good, though. All them dudes, man. It just was like, I was just watching talent.
But
I was just like,
at that time, the basketball talent in the state of Maryland is still great now. But that era right there, come on, man. That's
Ain't gonna be another one.
The DMV is a whole.
it's gonna be another
Because
one.
you got to remember, like, even during that time, it was like
Right now,
Scotty
so
Reynolds. Like,
we played against his school, Herndon.
y'all played against
We
Herndon?
played against Herndon.
He scored like, didn't he score like 2,000 something points? in high
He had
school?
like 33 against us. We beat him, obviously, but he was really good.
Yo, he was nice.
The
Yeah,
Nova legend.
yeah, he was
For
definitely
sure.
nice. Definitely nice. Man, what's kind of like the biggest lesson that you learned in coaching from each one of the coaches that you've been with? Because obviously, like you say, you were under two, kind of, you know, I mean, if not the biggest, I mean, two big names around the way. Like,
Yeah.
what is the biggest lessons that you think you learned from them?
I would say I've learned probably from both different things. Stu Vetta, you know, the structure of everything, how important that is in the business side of basketball. I learned a lot. I watched him do his camps. I worked his camps, took his formula, did my camps the same way. Clatchy, more so, you know, the in-game stuff, being prepared, allowing your best players to be your best players. You know, down there we had a lot of good players. But it's just different. It's just totally different. So the structure, the discipline, you know, kind of with that, this side over here was a little bit different, more so the in-game stuff. And how important development is, because we didn't always get the best players to come to Mount St. Joe, but we there every year, you know. So it's that being able to get guys to be a team, you know, seeing guys go play JV, maybe 2 years, but then have an impact as a senior. That's why I was like, man, this shit really worked. Like the development part, like the program part of it, like having a good freshman team, having a good JV, and it does equate to success long term, you know, if you do it the right way on the lower levels and not just always like try to get transfers and you have a good team 1 year and then 3 years down and then they seniors again, then you have a good year. It's like consistently having good years every year by talent that's you develop. And just get them to buy into the program.
What's the biggest lesson that you try to instill in the kids that you've coached over the years?
You can always do more. You can always be doing more. And you feel like, oh, I worked out twice a day. Okay, that's fine. And what you eating? That's even more. You know, are you stretching? You know, are you taking care of your body? Are you resting? You know, a lot of kids don't rest enough. That's why they don't grow.
Right.
It's like all these kids got Osher slaughters, there's like growing pains, this and that. But I'm like, I never even heard of that shit up until recently. You know what I'm saying? So it's just slept in the summertime. You see a nigga 3 months later in school start, you like, damn, bro, you grew. I'm telling parents, I'm like, yo, let your kids sleep in the summertime. Like I get them up at 5, I do this, I do that. I'm like, you know, so just that, man. Just you can always do more. Like you're a shooter, you can always learn how to dribble better. You know, you just a guard that can dribble and finish. You can develop that jump shot. You just gotta do more. You know, so if you think you're doing enough, do more.
No, that's real shit though.
And that can apply to life.
Facts.
Period. That can apply to life.
Content,
Not just
man. Being
basketball,
content
it
is
can apply to life.
that's a bad disease.
Absolutely.
Contentment. You know, I'm cool, I'm comfortable. That's not good.
Mm-hmm.
If anything that we do in life, you know, we as individual, you know, humans, that's what we comfortable. Comfort is good. Shit feel good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can pay all my bills. I'm cool.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, you want to ever do something better. You want something bigger.
Right.
So you can't be comfortable, man. So it's always more to do.
Now, coaching wise, you've been one of the top assistants for a couple of the top programs in the area. Do you have any aspirations of becoming a head coach? And would you step outside of private to do so, or would you want to stay in private?